Brady disclosure consists of exculpatory or impeaching information and evidence that is material to the guilt or innocence or to the punishment of a defendant. The term comes from the U.S. Supreme Court case Brady v. Maryland 1, in which the Supreme Court ruled that suppression by the prosecution of evidence favorable to a defendant who has requested it violates due process. Following Brady, the prosecutor must disclose evidence or information that would prove the innocence of the defendant or would enable the defense to more effectively impeach the credibility of government witnesses. Evidence that would serve to reduce the defendant's sentence must also be disclosed by the prosecution. In practice, this doctrine has often proved difficult to enforce. Some states have established their own laws to try to strengthen enforcement against prosecutorial misconduct in this area. Definition of the Brady Rule edit. The Brady Doctrine is a pretrial discovery rule that was established by the United States Supreme Court in Brady v. Maryland, 1963. 2. The rule requires that the prosecution must turn over all exculpatory evidence to the defendant in a criminal case. Exculpatory evidence is evidence that might exonerate the defendant. Examples edit. Examples include the following. The prosecutor must disclose an agreement not to prosecute a witness in exchange for the witness's testimony. 3. The prosecutor must disclose leniency, or preferential treatment, agreements made with witnesses in exchange for testimony. 4. The prosecutor must disclose exculpatory evidence known only to the police. That is, the prosecutor has a duty to reach out to the police and establish regular procedures by which the police inform the prosecutor's office of anything that tends to prove the innocence of the defendant. 5. Not all exculpatory evidence is required to be disclosed by Brady and its progeny, only evidence that is material to guilt or punishment, with material evidence being defined as such as to create a reasonable probability that disclosure of the evidence would have changed the outcome of the proceeding. 6. The prosecutor is not obligated to personally review police files in search of exculpatory information when the defendant asks for it, but to allow reasonable access. 7. The Supreme Court observed in Strickler v. Green, thus the term Brady violation is sometimes used to refer to any breach of the broad obligation to disclose exculpatory evidence, that is, to any suppression of so-called Brady material, although strictly speaking, there is never a real Brady violation unless the non-disclosure was so serious that there is a reasonable probability that the suppressed evidence would have produced a different verdict. 8-9. The prosecutor must disclose arrest photographs of the defendant when those photos do not match the victim's description. 10. Some state systems have expansively defined Brady material to include many other items, including, for example, any documents which might reflect negatively on a witness's credibility. 11. Police officers who have been dishonest are sometimes referred to as Brady cops. Because of the Brady ruling, prosecutors are required to notify defendants and their attorneys whenever a law enforcement official involved in their case has a sustained record for knowingly lying in an official capacity. 12. Procedures for compliance edit. In order to ensure compliance with Brady, the United States Supreme Court repeatedly urged the careful prosecutor to favor disclosure over concealment. 13. Conformity with Brady is a continuing obligation of prosecutors. Some prosecuting attorney offices have adopted and created specialized procedure and bureaus to meet their burden. 14. Pitch S v. Superior Court. 15 is the source for a Pitch S motion. Such a motion can be made by a criminal defendant to discover complaints made against a police officer, and the investigation of those complaints, such that they are contained in the officer's personnel records. The motions can be made in a California Superior Court under California Evidence Code 1043-1046-16. Notwithstanding the broad nature of the discovery that the associated court rule and statute provide, getting actual records is problematic. In California, there is a carefully prescribed procedure governing such request, and making disclosure without an order is a crime. The statutory scheme was developed, in part, because law enforcement departments had developed a practice of purging their files concerning misconduct claims made against their officers. 17.
Always, I must be careful what I'm wishing for. When I'm hungry,
Okay, we are back, ready
Randy Kelton, Rural Radio, and we're going to Scott in Texas. Hello, Scott.
Howdy, howdy. Well, let's.
Ready. What do you have for us today?
Well, I would like to go back and kind of rewind back from last week and talk about the Brady list, because the show kind of fell apart and everything, and I can refresh some people what had happened, because last week was a really good week. So.
Ooh, good.
Yeah.
Okay, I have the Thomas. What is it? I've got the statute up here if I can find it. The Michael Morton Act. Okay, go ahead. We may get to the Michael Morton Act. I've got it up here.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I had to go to court over in Lake Dallas, and the city attorney had sent a motion in limine trying to get it to where nothing that the officer said could be heard in court or anything, and so I objected to that and blah blah blah. But what it boiled down to is when it read is basically it said that now comes the state that basically no opening statements and direct cross-examination of any witness. The fact that the witness, Officer Grant, has been put on the Brady list by Denton County as a result of facts not relevant to this offense. But the Brady list is also called the Do Not Support list. And what that means, according to all the little attorneys around town, they all know this. And a do not support list is how it works in their eyes, and how everybody should understand it is when an officer in a municipal city is placed on a Brady list by the county DA, they are deemed not a credible witness. But the city, the municipal city, will say, like Lake Dallas, could still hold a court trial, find you guilty, but then when you appeal it to an appeals court, the appeals court judge could not hear that witness because he is not a credible witness, case dismissed. So once I figured all that stuff out, I went before the judge. I don't ever call him a judge. I never address him by judge. It's just either ma'am or sir. And told her that, you know, that this is, first she granted my my objection to their motion in limine, and then dismissed or wasn't going to grant this other motion that I had in. And I was going to say on what grounds, because, you know, your officer's not a credible witness, can't be heard in an appeals case. And that's when the prosecutor, she said, "Are you planning on appealing this case?" I said, "Not yet, but I said, if the judge is going to rule against me, you're going to rule against me, and we have a trial and it rules against me, then all I got to do is appeal it, go to appeals court, and the officer can't be heard as a credible witness and case dismissed because he's on the Brady list and a do not support list." She looked immediately over at the judge and said, "In the interest of justice, case dismissed." Granted, out of there I was. Boom. I mean, quicker than snot. So that's how the gist of the Brady list works out. And then Thursday, I had a double whammy. I had 2 in 1 week. So that was Monday. And then Thursday, I go to Rockwall. I was in and out of Rockwall so fast. I mean, it was like a revolving door. I hit in before my butt hit the chair. I was up, down, sign, gone. I mean, before they even scheduled court to be heard, I was already gone and out the door and on the road. So that's pretty good liquid.
Okay, but this brings an issue. Why did you go to Rockwall?
Rockwall, you know, they're just basically resetting it because I have a Title 42 on them and they are in default. And I went and filed. Go ahead.
Okay, they ordered you to come to court. and then they didn't hold court.
No, it was just a
Is that
reset.
correct?
It was a reset, yeah.
Was there a motion for continuance filed?
By them?
Yes.
I have no idea if they filed anything. They probably didn't.
You need to file a criminal complaint against the judge for abusive process.
For not filing for a
motion
for...
This is what these guys do.
Wait. So who would be in charge? Would it be the prosecutor, the DA that's got to file for the motion for continuance? Because it's his case?
No, it would be the judge who has to grant it.
Why would he?
It was the judge who ordered you to be in court, not the prosecutor.
Okay.
So the judge ordered you to come to court just to cause you to have to lose a day of work and spend time down at the court. Then he sends you home. And then next month he calls you back again. Then he sends you home. He keeps hammering you until one time you had enough of this, you don't show up, then they issue warrants that collect your money.
Oh.
Each time the judge issues a subpoena or issues an order for you to appear in court and you appear and they don't have trial, you file abusive process on it.
Oh, that's golden. I've filed so many judicial conducts on him.
Abusive process is a crime in the state of Texas.
Oh, he's committed several crimes, and I attach all my criminal complaints to the judicial conduct complaint form and submit it all. And it's like, here you go, take that little tar baby, and y'all go wrestle it.
Well, you need to start filing them sending them to the local grand jury. That's Dallas County. Because when the district attorney intercepts the complaint and doesn't get it to the grand jury, now you got complaints against the district attorney. And when you start hammering the district attorney with one criminal complaint after another against these judges, and then you go after the district attorney for shielding the judge from prosecution, the district attorney is going to get real irritated with that.
Well,
but he can't say anything to you about it. If he does, that's witness tampering, obstruction of justice.
Oh,
so the only one he can land on is that municipal judge.
I've filed on everybody over there, every judicial conduct, bar grieved, everybody from held them back. So, and Rockwall is a little county, so it's the small little county. So, you know, they hold everything over there. It's not like going over into Dallas County.
Oh, so you're not in Dallas County, so you've got a local grand jury.
Well, Rockwall
you got one you may actually be able to get to.
Rockwall grand jury?
Rockwall is just Rockwall County, isn't it?
Yeah, they have their own county.
Okay, so they got a grand jury.
Oh yeah, but those people over there, they are no. Do
not do that. They are ordinary people like you, and I guarantee you, prosecutors are terrified of grand juries. I hear all this nonsense about prosecutors controlling grand juries. They don't do any such thing. Did you hear the beginning of the show?
Oh, yeah.
I may have got the district judge. I filed the most nitpicking, technical criminal accusation I could come up with against the district judge for a first-degree felony aggravated assault. The most outrageous charge I could find. I may have got it because I called the district attorney's office because Thursday was the day the grand jury met, and instead of his clerk telling me that the jury came back with a no bill, she told me that the prosecutor would talk to me about it Monday. Ooh. Whoa, what does that mean?
Guess we'll find
He
out
did
Monday.
not tell me we got a no bill.
Well, not yet.
I may actually have gotten them. And if that's the case, everybody in Texas is going to know about it. That's going to scare everybody.
Well, I've got Rockwall right now defaulted in a Title 42 civil lawsuit, and today I just went down and filed all the default paperwork with the federal courthouse, and so now the judge has it. They'll notify the other side that they're in default. They're 75 days in default, you know, so they can't answer.
And I read the letter from the attorney who said that when you file that, the other side is probably going to come up with an answer and ask the court for an extension of time, and the judge will accept their answer. Well, that's not the end of it. Because you waited so long, they can't claim honest mistake or excusable error.
I wrote that into my stuff too, into my paperwork, because that's part of the defenses that they would use.
Yeah, you don't care what the trial court does. You know, let them bring in their answer. When you get to the Court of Appeals, the Court of Appeals, for them to say that someone can answer 75 days late without good cause, they'll change 200 years of law. And they're not going to want to do that.
Right.
They rule against you, then nobody has to answer their lawsuits anymore. So you're in a good spot. Okay, hang on, about to go to break. Randy Kelson, Rule of Law Radio. I call in number 512-646-1984. We'll be right back.
Would you like to make more definite progress in your walk with God? Bibles for America is offering a free study Bible and a set of free Christian books that can really help. The New Testament Recovery Version is one of the most comprehensive study Bibles available today. It's an accurate translation, and it contains thousands of footnotes that will help you to know God and to know the meaning of life. The free books are a 3-volume set called Basic Elements of the Christian Life. Chapter by chapter, Basic Elements of the Christian Life clearly presents God's plan of salvation, growing in Christ, and how to build up the church. To order your free New Testament Recovery Version and Basic Elements of the Christian Life, call Bibles for America toll-free at 888-551-0102. That's 888-551-0102. Or visit us online at bfa.org.
Live Free Speech Radio, LogosRadioNetwork.com.
The following news flash is brought to you by the Lone Star Lowdown, providing the daily bulletins for the commodities market, today's history, news updates, and the inside scoop into the tides of the alternative. Markets for Wednesday, the 14th of December, 2016, are currently trading with gold at $1,143.78 an ounce, silver $16.79 an ounce, Texas crude $52.98 a barrel, and Bitcoin is currently sitting at about 778 U.S. currency. Today in history, the year 1958, the third Soviet Antarctic expedition becomes the first to reach the southern pole in accessibility, the area calculated to be the furthest on the continent from the shoreline. It lies about 546 miles from the actual South Pole at an elevation of over 12,000 feet. Today in history. In recent news, for only the second time in a decade, the Federal Reserve will be raising interest rates. The Federal Reserve's interest rate setting committee said Wednesday today that it would raise interest rates by a quarter of a percentage point, that is between the 0.5, which it's currently at, up to 0.75. The Fed statement did say that, quote, the committee expects the economic conditions will evolve in a manner that will warrant only gradual increases in the federal funds rate. and that the federal funds rate is likely to remain for some time below levels that are expected to prevail in the longer run. The Obama administration blocked states from cutting off federal grants to Planned Parenthood today. Wednesday, the executive rule stipulates that states may not prohibit an organization from participating in Title X, the state federal program that gives out tens of millions of dollars for family planning, for any reason other than the organization's ability to provide services. However, President-elect Donald Trump has pledged to support efforts to cut off public funding for Planned Parenthood as long as they continue to offer abortion. He has also nominated as his Health and Human Services Secretary Representative Tom Price, who has also supported measures to defund Planned Parenthood. And Vice President-elect Indiana Governor Mike Pence is completely in favor of cutting off the group's taxpayer support. So we'll have to see if this executive rule will be overturned. Abdul Salam Abdul Razak, a military spokesperson for the Nawr al-Din al-Zinki Syrian rebel group, told Reuters today that within hours the implementation of an evacuation agreement for Aleppo will begin. The deal included the evacuation of people from the villages of Kaua and Kefraya. Some 50,000 people, including militants and their families, and whoever wants to leave among civilians, will be headed for the province of Idlib. This was Rick Brody with your lowdown for December 14th, 2016. It's all according to the will of the Almighty. I read his book and it says, care not for the unsightly. These warmongers sung by that Tom Riley. I won't pay for the war with my body. Ain't gonna pay for the car with my money. I won't pay for the fun with my body. Okay, we are back. Randy Kelton, Riverville Radio. We're talking to Scott in Texas. Okay, go ahead, Scott.
All right. Well, like I say, I got them in default now, and just going to be waiting on the judge to make a determination in however many days. I figure it'll probably drag out about 90 days, my best guess. And then it's going to have to come to a head then. And then once I get a default, then it's like, okay, now what?
Now you go to court and determine how much they have to pay.
Oh, I've already got that wrote up in all the paperwork and everything in a set amount, because I got it set for, a set.
No, you're going to have to go into court and prove it up.
Oh, prove it up.
They're gonna object to the amount, and you're gonna have to show the court why they should grant you that amount. The case is default, but the amount is not.
You say that again?
The case itself, you win the case by default, but you don't win the amount by default.
Oh.
Now we have to go back and the court, you have a hearing and the court determines how much you get. They're going to object to the amount that you requested. You're going to show why you should get that amount, and the judge is going to make a determination.
Now, it was based on Trezevant, and it wasn't on the proper current inflation rate, because if you use Trezevant and today's inflation rate, it's basically equals out to $5.2 million a day now, instead of 3.5. So it's like $5 million bucks a day.
All you have to have is a calculation and show how you got that calculation. And the other guy's going to say, well, that's a crappy calculation. He shouldn't have calculated by that. He should have calculated by 50 cents a day.
Right.
And then the judge will make a determination. But if you do get the default judgment and you go to the trial to determine how much, make sure you do a lot of research on who has filed similar suits, won at default, and what kind of the judgments they have received from the courts. So you'll have a way to base the value. You're really going after due process.
Oh, that's the whole thing. Is
and the question is, what are your rights worth? My rights are extremely valuable because I paid big time for my rights. So for them to come to me and say, "Why are you getting this much? You know, how do you justify this much?" I'm going to say, "Where were you November 17th, 1970? I can tell you where I was. I was paying for these rights. I was staying in Third Field Hospital, Saigon, South Vietnam. I paid for these. These are mine, and they're very valuable to me. You got to find a way of showing the court why these rights are valuable to you. Doesn't matter what the value is to somebody else. You got to show them why it's valuable to you." But that's the fun part. If that's the worst part you have to do, oh, that's going to be great fun. Okay, do you have anything else for us?
Well, I guess not. So I'll let you carry on.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah, so everybody just keep fighting, and if anybody wants to, I've actually live streamed this conversation, so this will be interesting. So if anybody ever wants to hear it, you can go to Snafu Radio on YouTube, and you can hear this again along as well as the archives with y'all. But yeah, this is great because, like I say, I got some pretty good stuff on there too. So, but other than that, have a good evening.
Wait a minute. Were you doing self-promotion?
I just did one.
Yeah, we encourage self-promotion.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Anybody wants to email me?
Scott.
Yeah, if anybody wants to email me, you can email me too, and I'll get back. I'll send you some good stuff on the right to travel. What I'm doing too. So I know, because I know what you said last week. You know, it was like, you have a license and stuff like that. But for a lot of people that had their license taken away by the state, they don't have a choice. They have to learn how to deal with this stuff because they don't have a license. And the state is the state has beat a lot of people up, and they're taking a lot of people to jail over something that is completely not right. It's illegal, basically, everything that they're doing. So absent a Fourth Amendment warrant, there we go, folks.
Good. Stay after them. Okay. Thank you, Scott. Now we're going to go to...
All right. So there you go, folks. I just want to let you know this is what we got to do to make everybody understand. This is how what we're doing here. So I'm just trying to tell everybody that y'all are doing a good job. We're man, I had some back feed there in the background. Couldn't hear myself think. Anyhow, so since they don't have a warrant pulling you over, everybody getting a ticket, and you don't have a license because they already jerked your license, that's complete BS. Because if you're not in commerce, then you should you better know what your rights are. And like I said, if you want to email me, I'll send you the right to travel documents. Y'all can study up because it's going to be a ton of stuff. It's going to come in a zip file, and you can read it all yourself and then get prepared to understand how to assert your rights. And once you assert your rights, you're not a defendant ever again. If there's anything else y'all need, Google. That's what they tell me. I'm still having to figure it out as I go, but I'm fighting hard, and I'm gonna make it happen, just like all of us. We all are gonna be in this together. So it's time to make it happen. It's a new era. It's a new 2017 right around the corner. Time to stand up and be an American and be counted, be heard, and be counted. Snafu out.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too, because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheeple up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Charlotte County COPWATCH with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave let's say actually yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, at least I can do it. 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is if I got some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. 47,000 of you so far right now. $1 a day. $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head, help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.